Chapter 72. Yudhar's gaze drifted towards a small bird cage hanging next to his horse. It seemed he might have to send a courier to Kishir more swiftly than he initially thought upon arriving in the village. Your Grace, a courier had arrived from the east, a voice informed him. Is it from the Lord of Hatton? No, it's a report from our spy in the nearby village. Seated at his desk, buried in paperwork filled with complex laws, Kishir finally shifted his gaze to his adjutant, Nathan. A report? Do you remember when you ordered me to recruit several spies in the Eastern to monitor the long-term movements there? One of them, I inquired if he knew anything about this matter, and the answer came quickly. Yudhar had not taken lightly the fact that a cavalry member, originally from the east and on leave, had not yet returned. The east, where the ducal faction was gaining ground, had been subtly pushing back against the Awakeners ever since Kishir expressed his desire to form the cavalry. While the incident was likely minor, there was a possibility that some foolish noble had insulted the cavalry member and by extension Kishir and the Emperor. For this reason, he had instructed Nathan to investigate all possible leads for information beyond the direct letter he sent to the Lord of Hatton. The reply from the Lord of Hatton was yet to arrive, but the answer from other source came unexpectedly quickly, which did not sit well with Kishir. Kishir broke the seal on the letter Nathan handed to him and read it quickly. His red eyes cooled significantly after a moment. So there's been a fire in Hatton? Yes, and it's rumored that the Lord's castle completely burned. The timing coincides with Devron Hatut's stay in Hatton. Might be a coincidence, but we can't be sure. But there was no report from Black Pigeon about this. On the countless events that occurred daily across the country, disasters were critical reports that needed immediate communication. If a fire severe enough to consume the entire Lord's castle had occurred, naturally, an immediate report should have reached the capital administration via couriers. Yet, even their spies in the nearby villages didn't know the extent of the casualties. Something was suspicious. One could argue that the delay in the handling of the incident caused the report to be late. Still, Kishir remembered that Devron Hatut had the power to conjure fire. Oh, another courier has arrived. At that moment, Nathan, standing by the window, caught another small bird that had flown in. Is it from Hatton? I'm sorry, but it isn't. It's a letter from another spy in the east. What does it say? Kishir asked his adjutant to read out the message. As Nathan unfolded the small pouch tied to the bird's leg and read the letter, his expression shifted slightly. It's an irregular report unrelated to the current incident. It says that 10 Imperial Knights have come to train at Mount Clayman. Isn't Mount Clayman near Hatton? Kishir's memory, which had the entire continental map memorized, was unquestionably flawless. Indeed it is, and among the knights who went for the training this time, it seems Keol the Diarca is present. Kishir's handsome lips curled into a subtle smirk. Is that scoundrel there? I thought he'd learned a lesson after getting scolded by my assistant, but it seems that wasn't the case. Keol de Diarca was the youngest son of the Duke Diarca, who had spoiled him so much that he didn't listen to anyone and earned a notorious reputation. The Duke arranged a place for his youngest son in the Imperial Knight to lead a comfortable life, but this hope was beautifully shattered with the recent formation of the cavalry. Keol, who was humiliated for the first time in his life by a common-born cavalry member, Yudhar Ale, in the training field, could not contain his fury and contacted Kishir numerous times. The calls were almost threats, demanding immediate expulsion of the audacious cavalry member and sending him to the Diarca family. Of course, Kishir ignored all of it. Just when he thought the matter was finally settled and forgotten, a few days ago, Yudir once again encountered Kiol and bestowed upon him an even greater insult. Assuming that there would be another round of complaints before receiving none, Kishir thought Kiol had finally learned some humility. However, it appeared that Duke Diarca had simply intervened, sending his son away for training. Predictable, the old man must have sent him away to cool his head, given all the trouble he's causing. Do you think the Duke knew something when he sent him? If he had known anything, the old man Duke Diarca would never send Kiol there, Nathan. Unlike the cautious question from Nathan, Kishir's answer was bitterly sarcastic. He may have lost a few teeth due to the old age, but an old lion is still a lion. The person who best understands his youngest son's abilities coldly and clearly is none other than himself. Still, if they happen to meet again at that place, I'm not sure it will turn out well this time. There was no telling what would happen if by any chance Yudir and Kiol were to encounter each other again in the eastern region, where the reach of the Duke's family was strong. It seemed like a great misfortune. When Nathan voiced his slight concern, Kishir shook his head. There's no need to worry about my assistant, even if something happens. What's more concerning is the report about the fire. I will look into that further. Do that, and Nathan, be prepared to go there at any moment if necessary. Do you want me to deliver the message personally? At the unexpected command, Nathan's eyes narrowed. Yes, it would be better not to go, but just in case, we need to be prepared. Understood. The loyal adjutant did not ask for reasons. Now, let's call up the mages who has been on their feet all day. Kishir realized that the fact Thais Yulman and his disciple could come here was due to the information leaked by Duke Diarca. The fact that they simply provided information to the mages of the Pearl Tower, who didn't have much connection to the Duke's family, meant they didn't show much interest in the power of the Red Stone. Fortunate indeed. All the nobles knew that the Emperor's health was deteriorating day by day. If they knew that Kishir and the Emperor were hoping for a miracle through the unknown power within the Red Stone, the Dukes would have done whatever it took to eliminate it. Or, knowing the power of the Red Stone, they would have sent a perfect spy who would be prepared to die to report to the Dukes. In this regard, a deep-seated character of a true mage in Thais Yulman, who had come here, was quite fortunate for Kishir. Thais was a leading authority in such research, and he was stubborn enough to willingly finger his pledge that he would keep his mouth shut forever as long as he could conduct his research. Perhaps Duke Diarca had leaked the information thinking that Thais would investigate the Red Stone and eavesdrop on the news he would send to the Pearl Tower. But did he really expect that Thais would pledge to keep his mouth shut so easily and even bear a grudge against his youngest son? Kishir felt quite pleased when he thought about how Duke would react when he found out about this later. The face of Yudir Ale, who suggested using Thais, came to mind. His assistant seemed to have a great talent for ruining what the greedy dukes wanted. It was a skill he liked. Once we pass through the guards, you see over there, we'll be in Harton. The man with a scar on his face paused as he gestured towards the guards, positioning not far off. Behind the stone wall and the watchtower they were guarding, the outline of the village could be seen just as he had described. Yudir stepped forward, leading the group towards the guards. Who are you? We are cavalry members who have been dispatched by Duke Kishirla or Paleta, the commander of the cavalry. The cavalry? For a moment, Yudhir noticed a heavy weariness pass through the faces of the guards. Show us some evidence to verify your identity. Here it is. Yudhir produced the identity certificate he had received from Kishir. After reading the paper several times, with a cautious gaze, the guard returned it with a heavy voice. So it is. Seems correct. 4 people, correct? Their gaze swept over Yudhir and the others behind him. Yudhir assumed that the guards would certainly be startled at the sight of the man with a huge scar on his face, but their expressions were remarkably calm. Finding this strange, Yudhir turned around and was surprised to see the face of the man standing behind Gakane and Jimmy had transformed into someone else. While the man still had a noticeable scar, his handsome face had disappeared, and instead, the average face of one of the bandits they had encountered on the mountain and fled from there. Moreover, he was wearing a cavalry uniform identical to Yudhir's. It looked no different from the real thing, but it was definitely a form made by overlaying an illusion. Using illusion abilities like this. The man smiled slightly at his eyes as his eyes met Yudhir's. It seemed that there was no need to worry about the scar on his face, thanks to his ability to show illusions, and indeed it was a remarkable skill. If he hadn't seen and heard about his abilities beforehand, he might have suspected him to be a shapeshifter. Yes, 4 people, correct. And your purpose? We wish to meet and speak with the Lord.